Welcome to the Fighting Dementia Podcast, a helpful resource for families facing dementia.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Fighting Dementia Podcast. I'm Leon, here with Fran.
Hello, nice to be back. It's been a little while, but nice to be back.
Oh. And today we've got Tom and Marion with us, who I met about a year ago now, going to one of the young Onset groups here in Liverpool, and you guys must have met.
Yeah, we have. We have, and we've had some good fun of late.
We have,
yes.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, it'd be great to hear about your journey and hear about your experiences, both of being diagnosed and then also with yourself, Marion, helping to support Tom on that journey. So it'd be cool to hear when you first noticed memory issues, I guess.
Well, I was away at the time, out in the Caribbean, and I was a pumpman, and I'd done that job for at least 10, 12 years, and I knew exactly what I was doing. And in the end, I had to keep checking myself for the job I was doing. And I thought, well, this isn't right. Because I knew exactly what I was doing. But every valve I opened, I had to check it again and again. That's why I thought something was going wrong. And not only that, there's the things you have to do, but I couldn't remember which way you tightened or unscrewed a bolt. That was another thing that wasn't right with me.
I found that when I was first getting symptoms, I'd done something same as you all my life as a nurse. And then things I came across, I couldn't think of what to do and how to do it and how to work it. And then I just thought it would be okay. I've just got, such and such, and just having a bad day. And then I'd go and see someone. I'd say, I'm just having a bad day, I can't. And they'd say, oh, you may be a little bit stressed. But I think it's different, don't you, Tom?
Well, thinking back,
it's totally different.
We used to go out for a drink, me and Marion, and I'd go from the table to the bar, and I forgot what I was getting. And I'd come back with something else. I've done it going to Chinese. Went to Chinese, come back with something I didn't even order. But we still ate it.
Did you shout at a Marion?
Oh, we're getting shouted at.
Just out of interest, what is a puntman? Just because I've got no idea.
When you're doing it's called a replenishment at sea. You do two ships alongside. The tanker passes fuel to the other ship, and the pumpman looks after the pump room. All the valves that are open to make sure the fuel goes to the right place and not over the side. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you're in the Navy?
Well, I was in the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, which is, you're all merchant seamen, but you're run by the MOD.
Brilliant.
That's good, yeah.
Brilliant. And how was it for you, Marion, in the very early days of when Tom said, I think something's up here?
I knew there was something wrong because he changed. He was very aggressive, verbally aggressive, not physically. And he was always blaming Kieran and myself, moving things. So he'd go into the garage and say, well, I put this there before I went away. And I've been away for 4 months, so it's got to be you. But we hadn't done anything. And he was getting very agitated as well. Because he knew there was something wrong and he couldn't put down exactly what it was. So his mood changed. It got to the point that I used to tell Kieran, I used to go, your dad's on one today. I said, keep out of his way, But we didn't know. It's just his personality changed. And I just said to him, I said, I think we need to go to the doctors. There's something not quite right. So you did go, didn't you?
In the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Should have gone sooner.
Don't you, Tom? You know. But you don't want to face it. You think it maybe just it'll pass.
Well, you see, I was away again, and I'd come home to Scotland, and on the way home, I was really bad. I was sitting in my cabin crying my eyes out for no reason. So when I spoke to the medic and said I was waiting for a diagnosis, and in the end, he sent me home from Faslane, but Marion had to come and pick me up because I couldn't travel on my own. Which I had no way of getting home on my own.
I don't travel much now. I wouldn't travel too far on my own. I wouldn't go anywhere on my own. But we used to do.
It was about 4 months before that. Tom got the train down to Gatwick, stayed overnight in a hotel, and got the plane over to the Caribbean.
Well, I could do that, but I couldn't do that now.
And then I went down to Weymouth to see him, but he was hiding a lot from me. And he said he felt really low then.
Yeah.
but he was hiding it from me. And it wasn't until I got the phone call in Scotland and he says, I don't know how I'm going to get home. So I asked to finish work a little bit early. I booked a hotel, stayed in Gretna Green overnight, and then I drove up to Faslane. And I was on my own as well because Kieran wouldn't come with me. And I never thought of asking anyone else.
You don't though, do you? Because
No.
you're that frightened, you're that scared, aren't you? As it's your partner, you know, I can see things in Frank sometimes and I can see he's quite shocked at what happens, at what I say or what I do or what I don't do or something happens. Sometimes we can laugh about it and have a really good laugh about it. And then other times I can see that Frank's, you know, worried about me and concerned about me. It's such a... You know, you can have these times where you're totally okay and you're just who you are and what you were and what you are now. But then the next minute, that I don't know about you, Tom, but I can be in the middle of doing something and then I don't know what I'm doing there.
Oh, I can handle that, yeah. I got the same sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then you sort of take a step back and then you've forgotten what you were thinking to think about to make it better. It's just...
Yeah.
It's,
Well, I can't follow a recipe anymore.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Not at all. Can't do anything like that.
I can't.
And you were saying on reflection, do you wish you'd got a diagnosis sooner? Or
Yeah, but that was my fault.
Right.
Marion took me to the doctors, didn't we? When I first thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
And this doctor we had, he was right on the ball. He knew what it was, but I wouldn't listen. I went back to see. I would have got a quicker diagnosis if I'd stayed home. But me being a fool, I didn't. I thought more of looking after my family with the wages and paying the mortgage and everything else.
Yeah.
That was more important to me.
That makes sense, yeah.
But then it just got worse and worse as I was away. That's why Marion had to come and pick me up.
That was a good thing for you, wasn't it, in the end?
Oh, yeah,
There was something
it was.
that made you, like myself, something makes you think, I've got to get this sorted.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so, no, it's great. And so, and you're saying you should have done it sooner because you would have understood it sooner.
Yeah.
And
things would have worked out better in a way, because when I did get actually finished, it took them 18 months to sort my pension out and everything else.
right.
We had letters from the mortgage company threatening us all sorts, but we knew we had the money there to pay them, but it just took so long to get it. But we got it in the end and it's all done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just needed to be diagnosed earlier,
Yeah.
that's all. And part of it was my fault. But I don't think the doctors realise sometimes what's going on, you know, because they're not specialists, are they?
No.
They're just GPs.
Yeah.
And the one I had my MRI scan, and according to our GP, who I think was a locum, said there was nothing wrong with me.
Right.
Then I went and seen the consultant, and she said, "You've got dementia." So on that day, she told me I got told that, lost my driving license and lost my job all in one day, and it just hits you for 6.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that?
How many years ago was that?
7.5.
Right. Okay. And I suppose it's great to have you on as well, because I've met you a number of times now at different groups and stuff, and you've always got a positive attitude. You're always telling jokes, which we might...
You've got to have a positive attitude. Just because you've got this illness, or you shouldn't be labelled with anything. You're still the same person. You can still work if you want to. It just slows you down a bit, that's all. And you're a bit quirky.
I think you were quirky before. I don't think this is an excuse.
But I think since I've been diagnosed, my sense of humour's gone great.
Right.
I didn't think to have a sense of humour before.
Right.
But now
Would you
it's-
agree with that, Marion?
He did have a sense of humour, but not like what he's got now.
Not as
wow.
brash.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He has, that sort of thing.
So there can be even positive changes in your personality.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
see, I think there is, because we've got closer since I've been diagnosed. I know it might sound a bit silly, but that's how I feel it is. And Marion feels the same, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was before the diagnosis and the way he was towards both Kieran and myself. It got to the point of, you'd wake up in the morning and say, oh, what kind of day am I going to have today? And then after the diagnosis, something changed, because he knew there was something wrong. It wasn't just Tom. it was something making him like that. So it made it easier for you, didn't it?
I'll admit, I was the worst person in the world before I got diagnosed. Mr. Angry I used to call myself because anything could set me off.
Right.
And then I got this diagnosis and it's like everything changed.
Wow.
People might say it's changed for the worse, but I don't think it has for me. It changed it better for me.
I think as well when we went to that GP appointment and Tom had gone on his own for the first one and the GP said, I'd like to see you again with your wife. And then we went back and the GP just said, I don't think it's depression, and done a memory test.
Wow.
And when they done the memory test, when we came out, Tom thought, well, there could be something wrong that's causing this. And it made him feel better. Not that, you know, we knew what they were looking for, but it just made him feel that there could be something causing, you know, this
behaviour, which which no one wants to wake up and go, oh, I can't wait to be angry today, or I can't wait to.
I know. But what I do like is now I've got a light in my cupboard and a chair in my cupboard when she locks me in. Brilliant.
And how many hours a day are you?
7.5.
Right. Good.
For the minute she goes to work, she comes home, lets me out for half an hour and back in.
Would you recommend that to other carers, Marion,
cupboards?
who look after someone with dementia?
Maybe put 2 lights in.
Yeah. The bucket is a game changer.
The bucket, okay.
It's an optional thing though, really. When I'm naughty, it goes away.
Oh, geez.
Well, the other one was I told social services she locked me in the summer house when she goes to work. And he rang her up and asked, is it true?
They asked me if they've got a safeguarding issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I told the GP she locks me in a cupboard.
Tom thinks it's hilarious.
I mean, it is quite funny.
Yeah,
It is.
So the new one is, you see, I fell down the stairs, didn't I, the other week? And what I say now is the last thing I remember before I fell down the stairs, Marion was behind me. So...
Did she make you
That's
sign
like a very
something before?
dementia-specific joke, that.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if she made him sign anything before.
No. She's already done that. When we got our power of attorney, I signed everything, didn't I? So it's all right now.
That's the thing, though, isn't it, about dementia? You were saying about once you get a diagnosis, I was like you.
Yeah.
I was glad I had a diagnosis. I wasn't disappointed in any way. I was more, well, thank goodness for that. Now I know I'm not going crazy. Yeah. I know I'm not, the way I am is because why I've got this disease. Because I kept thinking to myself, why am I like this? What's going on? What's happening? And then I'd think, no, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But as soon as I got the diagnosis, it sort of gave me the foundation to think, right.
I must admit,
like yourself, I've got this new life now. And this is the life that we're going to live. It's not going to be always the best, but it's given us more opportunities. Yeah. It's given me more opportunities. Lots of positive things have happened.
Did you think, when you things were changing, did you in the back of your mind think it could be dementia?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Well, I was a nurse for one, and I hadn't nursed a lot of patients with dementia. I hadn't come across a lot of that. They used to call it delirium and lots of different things. It's a bit of an old word, but that's what, you had an infection and that had made you, go off a little bit and things like that. So I'd never really thought about it. No one I knew in the family had had it or anything like that. My parents died quite young, so there was no grandparents or anything to have seen that. But I just knew, because the way you think is different, isn't it? It's not like you're stressed. It's not like you've forgotten something because you're in a hurry. It's just your brain is rewired differently, isn't it?
Yeah.
You still got some facts of the old brain, obviously, because you do. But a lot of it is gone, hasn't it? Yeah. And you're just trying to recuperate with something else. Trying to think, well, if I've got dementia, and because I knew in my heart and soul I had it, Marion, I don't know why or other people have felt the same, but I just knew that I did. And then when I was told, I thought, now I know, let's get on with it and let's do. the best that we can with it. And that's where I've been going.
A bit like the same, really, because we've never had it in our family.
Yeah.
And when the GP said we're going to do a memory test, you know, when it was quite upsetting, actually. Because they did ask you a few questions, asked the address, but then they had said to Tom, can you do the months of the year backwards? And Tom went December. Then he went February. And he goes, no, December. And he couldn't get past December. And I just so wanted to help him.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing we thought of going into that appointment. It never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Did it cross your mind, Tom?
I can't remember. I don't really remember much of that. I did feel really, really anxious, I would say, about doing something like that.
Right.
I know it's what they've got to do, but I just felt stupid.
No.
Every time I had to do it, because I've done quite a few, like a performance seal for these people.
Yeah.
And I just feel stupid when you can't do it. You know, but draw the face of a clock with the time on it, and I couldn't do it. Draw a square, I couldn't do that either.
Right.
Yeah. But I suppose they've got to do it, haven't they?
So you were apprehensive, but you didn't necessarily go in thinking, oh, I've got dementia or whatever.
I just thought I was, because I was always tired, always. And that used to make me angry with everybody else in the world. And then I was made up when I got it, really. I'm still tired. I could sleep the clock around and I'd still be tired. It's like having that you've done a long haul flight every day.
Right.
Jet lag.
Yeah. If I only work in the morning, sleep most of the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, we're going to come on to that. So, yeah, you're still working, aren't you? And I think you've always spoke positively about that in terms of giving you a routine. Do you want to tell us about your job and when you got it? And
all I did, well, it was, we went to the pub for a meal, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I thought Marion wanted me to get a job. And Marion thought I wanted a job.
right.
So Marion applied for it for me. And luckily I got my job. And that's okay. But it's great working there because I'm only a cleaner, I have a good laugh with the people who work there. They're great people to work with. I go in at 9. I don't see anybody till 10 o'clock. But I'm just left alone, and you're trusted. You know, I could sit behind a bar and get drunk if I wanted to. No. But it is really good for me. It keeps me going. You know, that's what I mean. If you've got dementia, doesn't mean you can't do something. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Even if it's just volunteering somewhere. Instead of sitting in the house thinking, well, what's going to happen today and how am I going to leave till I go really cuckoo. But yeah, that's how I like it. I enjoy it. And you think it's keeping me going, don't you?
Yeah. When he wasn't working, it was like he never saw anyone all day. So when I came...
There's no window in the cupboard.
So
I think he's reincarnated himself as Ken does.
When I came home from work, he was just like an excited school child.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't shut up. And he was so excited to see someone. And since he's been working, it has helped him. And it keeps you going.
Yeah.
And I think it keeps his mind going as well.
How long have you been doing it for now? Do you know?
It's come to 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, because social isolation and loneliness
Yeah.
is a huge risk factor for dementia, but it's also something that can make the disease progress quicker as well. If you are socially isolated and lonely, then the disease will act faster on your brain. So I think it's huge for you, isn't it, to be interacting with people every day and to have a sense of routine and stuff.
Another good thing is when we go out in the car, Marion buys me sweets. Shut me up.
Talk like them two policemen on the telly with the Haribos.
I just don't stop once I'm in the car. For the minute we leave the house to wherever we're going, I'm just yapping. It's only nonsense, but it's just yapping.
It's true, I do buy him sweets.
They shut me up.
The sticky gums.
It's usually toffee she gets me so I can't talk.
Yeah. I think it's so important that we continue to live our lives because I was very fortunate for some reason. I was picked out of something for research from Merseycare and a professor, only a young lad he was, came to see me and said, we're looking into activities when you've been just diagnosed. So I had loads of sheets of papers and things, and I had to write down every day what I'd done, what had stopped me doing it, how I'd avoided to do it, and all things like that. Well, I had that course for, I think it was about 9 weeks. He was lovely. And honestly, it just made me sit up and think, right, off out today. I'm not sitting, I'm not doing this and doing that. I'll go and see how far I can go and do what I do. And I think without his help, with all that, I know I'd do something anyway, but with his help, he showed me how to do it properly.
Yeah.
And I'd still keep a diary. I still make me plans of where I'm going and what I'm doing and who I'm meeting. And, you know, I've always got something in my diary to do something. And then I still have a rest day, obviously, and stuff like that. But if I hadn't met him, I think I wouldn't have been as far as I am now.
Yeah.
Because he taught me how to do what I needed to do with the way that I think. And it's been brilliant. And this is why I'm on the podcast. I would never have done anything like this in my life before. And now I just take a chance at anything because it's anything.
You've got to, haven't you?
Yeah.
Got to live your life. Got to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you can't, like, I had to finish work right away. And I was a nurse, and that was quite upsetting to me. Well, what your job is, it's upsetting to you. And then I had a little job in the hospice, working on reception. I couldn't do that anymore, and I just loved doing that. That was voluntary work, but I couldn't do that because it's patients. You're dealing with patients and things. So I thought, well, I'll have to find myself a new life, and you do, don't you? You get through it, as much as it's not the greatest. But then I get so much fun out of doing it and enjoyment out of doing it.
I like cocking things up. That's fun.
Yeah, and then saying, oh, I don't remember.
Well,
How did I do that?
I was putting some salt in the salt cellar once. It only had salt in it. So I put a bit more in there. So I took the lid off and turned it upside down. I don't know why I turned it upside down, but I did.
Yeah.
So I just a chuckle to myself. And I put my phone in the dishwasher before now. Luckily, it's a totally indestructible phone. But yeah, it's good.
I found as well that when we got the diagnosis, because it's young onset, there was nothing available. So we tried to find groups for Tom, and even Alzheimer's Society, Carers Trust, and that they were trying to find a group suitable for age appropriate, and there was nothing about. Tom tried Men in Sheds, but it was too clicky and there was too much going on. They couldn't cope with the overstimulation. What's another group? We were looking at all different types, walking groups or something. Alzheimer's Society was trying to see if they could get a volunteer to take him out. Yeah. But there was nothing available.
Because I've met you at a couple of different groups, and some of them are like 40, 50 minutes drive from your house, like you're making a real effort. Do you think that's important for you to go to these groups? Yeah.
I love coming over to Liverpool, to that Sedgemoor. It's brilliant. Yeah. But because there's nothing over by us. The people you go to Sedgemoor with are lovely people. Yeah. Made some great friends there. Yeah. But in Ellesmere Port, there's nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Not for my age group anyway.
Because you travelled to one, in, was it like 40 minutes away where I saw you, and that was more like Stoke way, was it? Where was it?
Oh, no, we didn't go to that. We went to the Chester one.
Chester, yeah.
So that's about 10, 15 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
But that's only just started.
Oh, okay.
So it's only been going for about 4 or 5 months.
Because I'd say that you're quite rare, and also yourself, Fran, because actually if you look at the number of people that have been diagnosed with dementia, just in, say, like the Liverpool City region where we are, compared to the actual number of people who go to groups, it's tiny percentage. It's somewhere between like 1% and 3%. And I think that's a real shame where you guys are taking this approach that's quite positive to like, what can we do with our diagnosis, and how can we get involved in the community? And I think you both get a lot out of it. And I think it's a really good story to see that if you actually do make the effort with these groups and you do manage to get out there, then it can have huge benefits. What benefits do you think you've both found from
Lovely
the group?
Cup of tea.
Lovely cup of tea. That's good.
Yeah. It's nice and strong. Builder's tea.
And Marion's cake.
Yeah, Marion's cake.
I like Marion's cake.
Yeah, but
She does a lovely cake.
I have to test it all when she bakes it. You see.
Good lad.
I found it was only by chance I met Sherilyn doing a run in Liverpool, and she invited Tom and myself to the Sedgemoor group. And I said to Tom, there's this group, do you fancy going? And he didn't really want to go, but he said, I'll go. Coming home that day, he goes, can't wait to go next month.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Tom had been diagnosed 5 years before we met anyone the same age as us.
wow.
So these groups are so important.
Yeah.
And Tom gets so much out of it. Even I get out of it as well, because I can talk to everyone. You know, you can talk to other carers. But Tom really enjoys it. And I can remember the first day, and I was talking to you, Fran, and I don't know if you remember this, and you turned around to me and goes, I'm so glad you've come to this group, because I didn't know what my future was. And looking at Tom, it was...
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It's nice. That's what it is. That's what the group was for me. Even I'd gone to 2 groups previous to that. And I'm not being rude, but they just were not for me. There were people with dementia who were in their 80s, 70s, 80s, who were that advanced. It frightened me. And I thought, because I wanted to try and be positive.
Yeah.
And then when I spoke to Cheryl and got invited to Sedgemoor, and I was wary about going, but I kept looking everywhere to find somewhere, and to find people that I could talk to, and that. But I'd like yourself, I couldn't find anybody, because young onset dementia at that time, not saying it's perfect now, but it is getting a lot better than what it was when we first started. And I just thought, when I come out of Sedgemoor, and I still felt sick, and I still felt upset, and I still felt nervous, because of it was more or less hitting home to me then again. Yeah, this is what it was, and but I liked it, and I told all my friends about it, and then they said, "Are you going back next month?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm not going back." And it was, for young onset dementia, amazing place. Yeah, people are amazing. They just know that it's not. We don't want somewhere where we're living in a life of dementia and Alzheimer's. We want somewhere that, we know we've got that, but we want to live separate to it in times like we do when we go to Sedgemoor. Don't know if you feel like that, Tom, but I do. I feel, the people I've met and who made me laugh and, made me look at things, and the people we've lost in there as well. Yeah. It's just amazing.
Marion says I get worse when I go there. I don't know why.
Yeah. Because you keep telling your jokes.
Yeah. Not very good sometimes.
Yeah, it's very hyper.
What do you get out of it, Tom? The group, like visiting groups and the different groups?
The one group we went to in Ellesmere Port was for the older person. I played pool for nearly 2 hours. I don't like playing pool. And I was sitting there thinking, looking at these people, thinking, that's my future.
Gone in the cupboard.
And I thought, well, it's not going to be. So we left there in the end, and we didn't do much after that. Then, like Marion said, she went to met Shellin, and going there has changed everything for both of us. Because Marion's made friends, I've made friends.
Yeah.
And I annoy people, which is good.
We all annoy people sometimes, don't we?
Phil, who's there with us, he's a bit of a joker and all. Yeah, would laugh, me and him. But yeah, I really enjoy going there. Yeah. You can be yourself. Yeah. You haven't got to pretend to be something you're not. You're a bit unwired, but who cares?
You just feel comfortable, don't you, there? It doesn't matter what you do. If you want to be quiet that day, you can be quiet.
Oh,
if you
no
want to be raucous,
I
know, But if you want to be raucous, you can be raucous. You can do what you like, but you know that you're in company. It's like one of the women there now who's having her husband's not well, and she's come to everything with us, hasn't she, of late? Yeah. And she enjoys the fact that there's people there that she can talk to, and people, we all sort of help, not help her, but we all know that she's there, and we can, just look after her type of thing. And I think she feels looked after within Sedgemoor, and the people who are looking after her as well as a carer, because that's where they lose the thread sometimes, is the carer, isn't it? And I'm sure you'll know that, Marion. Yeah.
I don't think there's enough for the carers.
No, I don't. I fully agree with you. Yeah.
Because what I have now, with the PIP and that, if I didn't know Marion, she fought for that for me. and anything else I needed. But you don't know what you can have and what you can't have with dementia.
Yeah.
If you haven't got someone who's going to fight for you, you're going to get nothing.
Yeah. I just got something that I should have got 5 years ago. But, and I was just, I think we were at Sedgemoor, and one of the council people said to me, you should be entitled to that. And I was entitled to it, but I'd been told previous I wasn't entitled to it. And she said, no, you're entitled to that. And it's not money, they've just discounted my poll tax and stuff because we had to get an extension put on, and you're getting like an extra bathroom or something. Now, I'd asked for that first off and they said no, so I just said, oh, okay. And then when I went about something else, they said to me, oh, no, you're entitled to that. So I've just got a reduction after 5 years.
It's good though, isn't it?
But it just, as you say, we're not given enough information around
I think it's
things.
so fragmented, isn't it? Because what's available in Liverpool is totally different to what's available in Ellesmere.
Nothing's available in Ellesmere Port. Trust me.
And I think that's like the whole country is like the service level and what support is available is like totally different, and it takes a lot of effort. And I think that's something we're trying to do with the podcast is try and help, pull information together and get people to think about, especially going out there and actually, like you guys sort of, once you do have a diagnosis, right, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to be positive about it? And I think having you on is great, and having yourself co-host as well, because it's like a different message out there to what people might think of what dementia is.
I was going back to that first day I went to Sedgemoor and I was talking to Fran. Tom got his diagnosis and he was put on medication. And then once he was stable on the medication, he was discharged from the memory clinic. Yeah. And we've never been able to get back to the memory clinic. We did have post-diagnostic, but what Fran had, you had like occupational therapists coming to the house. We had none of that.
Wow.
Was it physiotherapists?
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. We were just left to our own. Go back to your GP. And that was it.
There's so many physical aspects to this disease as well that people don't seem to realise that we do have physical effects that, what's the word I'm looking for, that impedes on your everyday life. Like you're saying, you're tired all the time.
Oh, I definitely.
I could fall asleep at the drop of a hat, and stuff like that. I walk to the left most of the time. I look like I'm drunk. I'm not.
Nothing wrong with that.
The spatial awareness. I have to come to your place. It's just the spatial awareness and things like that happen to you. It's just not just a mental health illness. It's a physical illness as well. And that's the thing where it comes into me is the fact that that's not taken into account. But fortunately enough, I had, it was Sherilyn who sorted all my stuff out when she first came out to see me. And I got checked left, right and centre, that I couldn't have faulted it because they were just amazing with what they'd done for me. Yeah. I didn't like my handrails though because it didn't match with something else.
We did get the handrails.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Have you got any physical symptoms that
I stumble a lot now. Lately I've been stumbling a lot.
I do. Yeah. I stumble a lot.
Don't seem to lift my feet high enough to walk down the road.
Right.
And that sort of thing. Yeah. It's easy to fall over, but I've only fell once. That was when Marion pushed me.
I think as well, people think of Alzheimer's dementia as a memory thing. Yeah. And it's not just the memory. I don't think Tom's memory is the worst part of his Alzheimer's. Tom's, I think he's gone more childlike.
Yeah.
He's the way his behaviour and things like that is completely changed. He does struggle with his memory, but there's other aspects that he struggles with even more than the memory.
What would you say they are, Tom?
Rewriting. It looks like I can't even read it when I've written it.
I can't read my writing. So
No, you start scrolling, you're writing, and
yeah.
the other thing you start doing is not spelling it properly.
Well, I had to fill something in at work last month or whatever, and I just couldn't even read what I'd written.
Yeah.
It's just like someone's crawled across the page.
It's like you get dyslexia, isn't it? I
Yeah.
know I'm not being rude to people who've got dyslexia, but you feel like you've got dyslexia.
And does that frustrate you now, or do you just realise?
I just don't write anymore.
Yeah.
Just put an X on it.
Yeah. I used to love reading. When I was away first, when I had no tellies on board the ship, so I used to read 3 or 4 books a week.
Wow.
Now I can't concentrate long enough to read a book. I used to love doing that.
And we had Dr. Ivan on last time, who's like Oxford Imperial research, and he talked about behaviour change. And obviously, like since diagnosis, and he said it's hard for people to change their behaviour.
Yeah.
Would you say you've made like any positive, because I know you have Fran with the diaries and all different stuff. Would you, Tom, say that you've made any behavioural changes or set up your life in a certain way since diagnosis to try and help
I wouldn't
you?
say I've made changes. I just live my life how I want to live it. I love my family and look after them. But as long as I can just have a laugh and get on with my life, that's all I want to do. You know, I like working. I like doing what I'm doing. I like going in the garden. I just do what I want to do, which you have to do. If you get this diagnosis and shut your door and sit there and do nothing, you're going to go quicker than if you got out and got a job or just walked or done anything rather than sit there.
It's a great message, yeah.
It's the small things that make your day, isn't it? Like you say, in the garden and stuff like that. This last week when it was sunny, Frank and I, he'd do some gardening, then I'd allot myself an hour and a half because I knew I'd be tired after if I stayed all day in the garden. For the whole week, we've done the garden between us, and it's been great. You know, we've had a laugh. We've had, you know, the sun's been shining. We're just getting rid of stuff from what we had for the grandchildren, putting new stuff down. You know, it's like doing new things, small things, isn't it? And I find doing small things like doing the gardening or stuff like that is good for me, like you say. It's just getting up, doing something, laughing, smiling, doing whatever you would do. And sometimes you laugh at yourself, don't you?
You've got to laugh at yourself.
Because it's just ridiculous, some of the things you think and some of the things you do. And you just can't do nothing else but laugh at it. And I think you're quite right. It's the only way we can go.
Yeah.
Because there will come a time when we can't do it. And that time, we don't know when that's going to come.
No.
Because as you know, and I know, some people, 4 years, 3 years, you're into your 7th year now, I'm into my 5th year. So, you know, because we've done what we've done and what we're doing, hopefully this will give us a bit more time.
Should do, yeah.
And that. So I wake up every morning thinking, right, come on, what are you doing today?
I know what I'm doing. Going to the pub
Getting
and
in the
cleaning,
cupboard.
going home and sleeping, getting up and cleaning. When I know when something's wrong with man, it says, we'll do this, I know I'm going to do it on my own. It's always we, but I always end up doing it myself. We were putting sleepers down the side of the garden. I'd run it by myself. Mind you, did drop one on my finger, that hurt.
Sure Marion didn't do that?
No, were you accident prone? Because I am.
Oh, yeah, very.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm always doing it. I broke my middle toe because I've tripped over the thing.
Well, I was using a grinder. On it. Using a grinder the other day and a slice through my finger.
Yeah.
Now I'm banned from doing DIY.
I burnt my arms. Stuff. I'm no good at stuff anymore. I haven't got that. It's not so much I haven't got the concentration most of the time, but it's the putting things down and then I'll return 3 hours later and think, oh, what's that doing there?
Well, I blew the socket off our wall there enough by in the cooker in. I knew what I was doing. I got all the wires. I put the live one on a neutral one, the neutral one on the live one, and the earth one on whatever it's supposed to go on. And I turned it on and went bang.
Sound like a plug.
I got that wrong then.
Did your ear stick out?
But the thing is, I knew what I was doing wrong, but I didn't stop.
You know? Maybe he wanted the explosion.
Well, I flung a cup of coffee all over myself.
Yeah.
I can't show you my scars because I tipped it down here. I'm not kidding you. Frightened. It didn't frighten me. I was just looking at it and I don't know why or wherefore or what. And I just went to drink it and my mouth wasn't there. Yeah. Nothing was there. And I just went like that. And I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I think I have to stick them in the sink. It was just, but it's just things, my arm just I get shakes now.
Yeah, does what it wants to do.
And it just went like that.
I've thrown a glass of wine across the floor before now. Like, just sitting on the settee.
Yeah.
And then it went. I don't know why.
You just get this mad reaction in your hand sometimes. And you're just like... But that's
Tom's
what it is.
banned from DIY unless I'm around.
Oh, I should think
Yeah,
so.
I was going to say, if you've got a grinder and
Or
you're
a
just going
Black and
through
Decker.
everything.
In my defence about the cooker, I was left on my own.
No, you...
The following day, I had supervision. That's how come I got it right.
In your defence, you said you were going to wait till I was home the
Yeah,
next
I was
day.
trying to be clever, wasn't I?
And for you,
Man waits for
Marion,
nobody.
what have you found, Marion, in terms of like for yourself and for obviously for both of you, like changes in behaviour that you think has benefited you over the last like 7 years?
I think, like Tom says, we have grown closer together, but I think we'd drifted so much apart because of the aggression.
Yeah.
And, and it was hard to live with him at that time. And Tom's even said to me, he goes, I don't know how you stayed.
You
Because a
didn't
lot of doors,
understand
you
it
see.
though, did you?
No.
You just didn't,
No.
and you would never have thought anything like that.
But it's like, we just do so much together. And he's quite emotional sometimes. And he just tells me how much he loves me all the time.
Oh.
Where he was never like that before.
Yeah, it's only to get out the cupboard, though.
Yeah, and it's like if he can't see me, he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So if we're at home and he can't see me, he wants to know where I am. He wants to be with me all the time. Sometimes it can be, I just wish I could have 5 minutes here and there.
Yeah.
But
That's normal though,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But we do try to I try to make time for myself, and Tom encourages it. But
Oh, that's nice.
I'm sort of the worst culprit because I don't make enough time for myself.
Yeah.
And I know I feel guilty.
I keep telling them you shouldn't feel guilty.
Don't
Go and
feel
do what you want
guilty
to do.
though,
Yeah,
Marion,
yeah.
because I do.
I don't mind.
I say to Frank, you go off and do what you're doing. There'll be a time where Frank will have to be with me every minute of the day
Yeah.
at some stage. And I think to myself, yes, sometimes I want him to be with me where we are, but other times I say to him, no, you go off and do this and do that. And, you don't need to do that yet. And when you do, that's
Yeah.
when, and I like him to be home and I like all things like that, but I try not to become too codependent on him right now because I get, but I'm still at the stage where I can do that. There'll come a stage where I can't do that. And so for now, I think you just go and do what you need to do. And then if I'm worried or whatever, like you've got a tracker, got everything, the kids are there, they know where I am and what I'm doing, or, there's always someone who can come
Yeah.
if I need them. But don't feel bad about it ever, Marion.
Yeah.
You're doing an amazing job, the
I'd
pair
agree
of you.
with that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard
yeah.
enough when you need to make
You both
time
have
for
to get your
yourself.
cupboard together at some stage.
I get a bit of peace in there. I used to like getting the bus round by us. And when he changed the bus route, I couldn't get the bus anymore. I wouldn't go on it because I wasn't confident enough.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one thing because I love getting a bus because you meet loads of weird and wonderful people on the
Yeah,
bus.
you do, yeah.
They all seem to sit
You
next to me.
certainly do, yeah, yeah.
So we had some questions from listeners come in on TikTok and Instagram because
did you?
obviously, Fran's now a celebrity on there.
I'm
as
not
you
a
know.
celebrity.
Hitting 60,000, 100,000 views and stuff. One of them was, do you have any routines or tools that help you stay independent?
I've got my tracker. That makes, because I know Marion knows where I am then, if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I've got a thing called Life 360 on my phone. That's another
Yeah,
tracker.
I've got that for my son. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just stuff like that. And having the confidence to go and do what I want to do and not let this thing stop me doing it, which it has at the minute with the bus. But I have been on it since, and now I know where it goes and where it stops and where to get off. I'm fine. But I was just like a little kid, didn't want to get on the bus. Yeah.
It's understandable though, isn't it? Because I got lost on the bus, I got lost on the train. I went all the way to Ormskirk and I was going to Walton.
Oh, well.
And then I looked and I had to ring Frank. I said to him, I'm in Ormskirk, I'm really not sure why I'm here. And then he just guided me to and said, keep talking to me and go to the driver or go to whoever's there and explain to them. He said, and I'll come, ask him to put you on the train, give the phone to him. And he was dead good like that.
Yeah.
But you do get little things like that now. I've never done it again. So it just knocks your confidence. That's the thing, isn't it?
I've had trouble with my bank card. I've put it in the machine.
Oh, yeah.
I know the glass bit on the front. I've tried to tap the numbers on that and it just wouldn't work. And I had to get my card back. Another time I went in the machine, put my card in, got the money out, and I couldn't remember getting my card back.
Yeah.
So I rang the bank and cancelled it, and it was in my wallet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's it.
It's what we do. It's part and parcel of Alzheimer's and dementia, isn't it?
Well, I went into Marks and Spencer's once, and I said to this woman, "Where's your coconut milk?" She said, "In the Caribbean." I thought, "Are you exactly?" She had the same as me. I got because we seem to have a different sense of humour than everybody else. You know,
I think my sense of humour's got sicker as I've got, as this has become more advanced. I can quite laugh at things that I wouldn't have.
Yeah, we were in Aldi one time and some fella came up to us and asked where the eggs were. And Tom says, in the chickens. And he wasn't impressed.
You didn't see the funny side of it.
You see, I like stuff like that. Yeah. I like funny stuff.
I think our sense of humour's got rearranged, haven't they?
Yeah.
With dementia. You just laugh at
Yeah.
you have a good laugh.
You've got no filter anymore.
Yeah,
No, it's true.
I've lost my
When I
filter.
used to shout in the shop to Marion, well, I got told off for that. Stop shouting. But now she realises why I shout, because I can't see her.
So we've got another question coming. So my husband is becoming more forgetful and sometimes frustrated with himself. How do you keep your confidence up?
Laugh. I know I've got things that are like on the front door, the things, don't forget your keys, which I've done in the past. But I think really, myself, I just have a good laugh. Get out there and just laugh. Doesn't matter what you're doing, just go and have a laugh. Walk down the street and talk. When I walk to work, I talk to myself all the way there, all the way home. And while I'm cooking my tea, if I'm doing my tea, I'll talk to myself. But it's just getting on with your life. You shouldn't let it get you down. I know it's easy to say that because I've got a bit further on. But I just think you've got to enjoy yourself. You know, don't go sitting in the house going, "Oh, I'm depressed and fed up and that."
You just have to
You
make
just
the
get
most
worse,
of it, don't you?
Yeah. Take it as a joke. I know it's an illness that's going to get worse in the end. But until then, just do what you want to do. Go out and enjoy yourself.
One of the things we were told as well after the diagnosis, make a list where you want to go. You know, it doesn't have to be. You can have a list of different countries. We can have a list of like towns in the UK and say, you know, we want to go to Oxford or Bath, or, you know, we wanted to go to, this is the first time I'd been to Scotland was when I picked Tom up. I'd never been to Scotland.
It's lovely as well,
It
isn't it?
is. And we went back, you know, to see Scotland, and it was lovely.
Yeah.
So it's little things. You have lists for things that you can do as a day trip, and then you have a list as what you can do for a bit, you know, longer.
Yeah.
But if we go on a day trip, it's got to be in the morning. In the afternoon, I'm just no good.
Yeah.
See, I like going cycling as well, but I always go cycling in the morning on my day off, just because if I'd done it in the afternoon, I wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm up to 20 miles cycling.
Wow.
And I'm just keeping going. Because we're doing that, well, I'm doing the Liverpool to Chester bike ride this year.
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic.
So am I.
Oh, Marion says he can. Yeah, but
We'll have to try and come over and see you.
Yeah.
Cheer
We
you
done
on.
the glow walk as well. What were you, how long was that ago?
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, because Marion wrote a piece for the Alzheimer Society. And they had us to open the glow walk.
Yeah, we cut the ribbon to start the
And
glow walk.
And it looked like I was going to stab the guy taking a picture. So I had a pair of scissors in my hand.
So in short, don't stop.
No.
Just carry on.
Just carry on, yeah. That's all you've got to do. I know it's a shock when you get diagnosed. And it was for me. I must admit, I sat in the corner on our settee, just staring at the telly. Because I didn't know what to do after that. But then you just work yourself through it and you find something that you want to do and you go and do it. You know, it doesn't matter what it is.
It's a learning curve all every day, isn't it? It's, you're taught something new with it every day.
Just do what you want to do.
Brilliant. And a coming to wrap up then, Tom, what's one thing you'd like to share to someone who's either just been diagnosed or is early in their diagnosis?
Don't let it define you. Because if you just sit and do nothing, it will define you. You'll end up feeling absolutely useless. And we're not. We're just different, that's all. Differently wired.
Fantastic.
We're just happy. Well, I'm happy, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I am.
Yeah.
I am. I'm extremely happy. It gave me, I can't think of the word again, but it gave me that I don't really particularly care what anyone thinks now.
No.
I don't. I wouldn't upset with anyone or do anything out of order, but I just don't let anything anymore stop me from doing something. Whereas one time before I think, I'm not doing that, I don't do this, I don't do that. And, and now I think I just...
Well, like doing this. Before I was diagnosed, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well...
I'd have been really nervous.
Me too, yeah.
But
yeah.
Sitting here talking, and that's all.
Yeah.
That's another thing people can do if they got diagnosed. Go talk to people.
Yeah.
There's a thing on the Alzheimer Society called Dementia Talking Point, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can talk to people there. I do it now and again. You just get to know people and have a natter to them.
Brilliant.
Just all typing, you don't talk to them.
Yeah.
It's nice though, isn't it, to see that other people are the way that you are. And sometimes you can get some benefits from speaking to somebody else and think, I might have a go with that, or I might do that, or I might do this.
But if you sit there and keep all in your own head, and not spread it around, just talk to people.
Yeah.
That helps everything.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Last year when we had the garden party, Tom was, I think he was getting himself worked up because he was so tired.
Yeah.
And when we were sitting outside, he was talking and he was talking to Meryl and Dawn.
Yeah.
And he said how tired he was. And then Dawn said, I'm like that. And it helped both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is good to talk. And that's where groups like Sedgemoor, you can talk to people and you can sort of say, what you're going through. And then other people say, well, I've done this and I've done that,
A lot of support, no judgment, just open conversation.
Yeah.
We went, what's the name of that one we went to on the Saturday as well? That was good.
Tide.
That lady is doing one from Tide. And we went to the William Brown Street Library, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We went there and it was lovely. We all just sat and just chatted. We all talked about stuff. We all, it wasn't anything about, finding out if we were entitled to that or something. It was just, we were just chatting, weren't we? It was lovely. It was a lovely morning. And then we went for our dinner in the Blue Coat, which was nice again.
I wasn't invited. I don't know why.
You were working, weren't you, or something?
Yeah. You made me work that
day. You're busy, Tom. Too busy for all this.
Busy man, me.
And Marion, how about you? What's one thing you'd like to share with someone who's partnered with someone who's been diagnosed?
I think really is getting over the diagnosis. That's the biggest thing. Is, when Tom got diagnosed, we never talked about anything other dementia. And you're just thinking, how am I going to cope? But now what we do, we make the most of the time we've got together now, and it doesn't take over our life anymore, where it did. We just get on with it. And if Tom can't do something one day, we'll say, we can do that next week. That's what I think.
Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both on. I think you're an inspiration, Tom, as is Fran. No, absolutely. I think you both are. I think that the way you approach it and the way that your attitude is, whenever I've met you and your attitude to work, your attitude to the disease and being diagnosed is fantastic. And I think, that's part of the reason why we started the podcast is people like yourselves to get that message out there, because I think it's really misunderstood. And even Stephen, who's our other co-host, I don't think you've met, but you might have listened to the other podcast with him on, who had both parents who got diagnosed with dementia. There was a lot of negativity, around it and continued to be until
Yeah.
he even met you. He got a lot from meeting you in terms of how he could think about the time that he could spend with his parents and looking at his dad and his mum in a different way and just enjoying those moments. And yes, it's difficult and it can get more difficult as it goes, but there's also a lot of joy to be had in these years, isn't there? As you're experiencing.
Well, I'm doing my best.
When you're not in the cupboard, obviously.
That's true. I like rather go into someone else. It's got windows. Nobody ever comes to let me out.
That's too posh.
Yeah.
And
Going in the naughty corner.
She puts me in there with all the rubbish.
And if any of the listeners have any questions, we're going to be doing more questions every time we have guests, and we're also going to have like a full episode coming up in a few weeks with Dr. Graham Smith, who was on episode 2. So get your questions in and you can ask us anything, and we'll hopefully share more information, because I think even I've learnt so much today. So thanks very much for coming in.
No problem. Anytime.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thanks, News at 10.
From News at 10.